popping in today, friends. By the way, this is Roanne, to give you some ideas, some ways to experience this feeling of being polarized, having to make a stand, right or wrong, left or right. And that seems to be a overarching theme, not just where you live, but seemingly around the world. There is research that we are becoming more individualistic, like even cultures that are more emphasize the importance of connectedness, that we are more individualistic. Now, individualistic itself is not a bad thing, because then again, I would be perpetuating this polarized thinking of individualistic and collectivistic. These are just emphasis in different cultures. Specifically in the Filipino culture, it's more collectivistic. There are research social scientists where the Filipino culture indeed is quite collectivistic. But there are obviously light, positive things. And when done in extreme, which we're doing now, we are polarizing, we feel like we have to choose, then that's when it becomes a shadow, something negative. For instance, the Filipino culture of connectedness is so beautiful. I think many cultures, and many culture does share that concept of kapwa, seeing oneself in the other in you. And yet, when that is in extreme, it becomes like this, enmesh, where this is a healthier way, good way to, I have ink from teaching my kids. This is a healthier way of setting boundary, where you're so connected, but you know which hand belongs to whom. But in a very enmesh, or become codependent with each other, not interdependent, because that's a healthy way of connecting with others. We become enmesh. You don't know which hand is whose, and that's the dark side. So every cultural trait that's beautiful also has a shadow side. I'm going to give you some ways to experience something different using the Kultura cards. If you're not familiar with Kultura cards, these are cards that I created inspired by the Filipino culture. I designed them. My children and my husband actually colored them. If you're interested in getting your own deck, I'll just share the link below. Otherwise, I'm going to flip the camera and have you experience a way to journal. Now, if you don't have these cards, it's quite all right. Just flip through a magazine, and the first thing that catches your eye, anything that is strong of an imagery, whether you like it or not, especially if you don't, pick that, and I will give you some prompts. I'm going to turn the camera around. So to start, here's what you would need. If you have your own Kultura card, this is the metaphorical associative cards that I created, and they're inspired by the Filipino culture. If you don't have one, that's okay. You could actually get even just one magazine or two magazine that has a lot of images. That would work the best. And all you need is a piece of paper, something circled that you can outline, so you would need that. Our experiential practice today is inspired by the mandala, which is Sanskrit for circle. And you know, circle really is very symbolic, because when you are polarized, nothing is circular. It almost feels like there's a line, one point to the other and one point to the other extreme, like a polarized thinking, black and white, left or right. Then all you need is any coloring material. This is really an exercise that you don't need a lot, but the first prompt would be to gather an image. In this case, I will do my Kultura card, And let's make the prompt as something that is really a strong feeling, an emotion. It doesn't have to be so strong, but something, an emotion that you need to process right now. So that would be the prompt. If you're not aware, we're going to use the imagery. So I'm just going to grab an image here. And if you're using your magazine, you're going to flip. And then whatever imagery, don't overthink it, because the critical mind, the prefrontal cortex, that's your critical mind, the left side of your brain. The prefrontal cortex is in the front, but the left side of your brain would start to take over, which is more concerned about right or wrong, being analytical. So just choose whatever strikes your interest, and you don't have to make out what it means right now. So I'm just choosing this. Okay, so this is the card that I chose. Whatever imagery you chose, begin to just give it a title. So if it's an image from the magazine, begin to just cut it, set it like this so you have an imagery. And for me, so choose a word. So my word would be share. And I'll put that word here in the middle. So as you can see, I put the word share. Now, whatever coloring material you have, you're just gonna just fill it with different lines and scribble. You can fill the space, whatever you like. So I'll show you mine in a moment. As you can see, friends, I've filled up my mandala with the word from the imagery. For me, that's share. And I just went with it, with my intuition. So it doesn't have to be anything other than yours. The next prompt, so take your time doing this. The next prompt is to again look for an imagery. So if you don't have any card, or you can use whatever card you have. The next one is, I'm thinking about the opposite of share. So an image, I will ask the image to help guide me. So I'm gonna grab an image again. See, I didn't even shuffle. So when I'm thinking about the opposite of share, it would be, you know what? Stingy. I know this is not a bee, but like a bee could sting. So like stingy. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another circle here that overlaps, and I'll show you in a moment. So this is what I have. So I just made a circle. See how it doesn't have to be perfect, and I just put the whatever I think is the opposite, and I was prompted by the imagery. Actually, you don't even need the imagery if you just think about the opposite of the first word. So mine is stingy, and I will just continue to work on this. Very similar, just using my intuition, and then whatever art supplies you have. This is all I have, some pastel crayons, and I'll see you in a moment. So now you see what I did. Very different theme. I'm not thinking about this, I'm just grabbing. I think the best practice for art, especially when you are using it as a way to express, is just going at it without overthinking. Believe it or not, you are an artist. If you can do something with your hands, you are. It doesn't have to be somebody else's, or looks like somebody else's work, just has to look like yours. So I did that, share, stingy, and then make another circle. Look for a smaller circle mold and just put it here. What you would do here is to combine both the elements of what you have in this circle and in this circle. It's almost like this is the offspring. And in many teachings, including the Buddhist teaching, sometimes when there's so much tension between two polar opposites, a third one, you give birth to a third one. So sometimes it's not all negative, but an offspring from extreme tension can occur. And so I'm curious what you would have here if you combine some of the elements here and here to this offspring. Here's what I came up with. So this is the offspring between two polar opposites, or two tensions that are happening, the share and the stingy. And here it is, there's the offspring. When you look at yours, take a moment to notice. And also notice when you're looking at the offspring, what that does to you, what it does to your body. This is a moment where you just take your time. You might want to move it this way. Are you seeing it a different way when you move it? How does it feel when the offspring is on top or on the side? This is the time you take your journal and you just free associate. What is the complete title for this whole thing? What is its message to you now of this offspring? Knowing that it's a combination of two polar opposites, you know, whatever you came up with, mine is share and stingy. What is this telling you? What is the message to you? Journal that. And what is it? What is your message to it? Drop in the comments either what's your message to it or what is it wants to tell you. I'd like to know. Thank you so much. And you can also put your main title here. Just a simple exercise. I hope you're well, and I would leave all the links if you're interested in these Cultura cards. You could check it out. Thank you and be well. Bye now.